And we are live. Hi. Oh my goodness. Welcome. Happy Friday. I'm not going to keep you long today. For those that this is your first time joining on in, I am Nekia Foxx from the Transformation Place, where we help amazing women and men transform from the inside out. So gather on in. I know, right? Today's such a beautiful day. So for all of those on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook, hello, beautiful people on this festive Friday. I wanted to come on and talk about what happens where you're now in a position where you must sacrifice the promise, right? And when I mean the promise, I am talking about, okay, do you know the story in the Bible where Abraham and Sarah had waited for so long to have this child? And the Lord blessed them in their latter years with this son. And listen here, the very thing that they have been waiting on for years, they were in a position that the Lord says you must sacrifice it. What if you are in that season? I am talking to somebody today that is in the season where you are now in a position that you must sacrifice the promise. The very thing that was your driving momentum for so long, the very thing that was the force that kept you going, the very thing that your faith was built on, and the very thing that we make sure we must not put as an idol, right? What happens where you're now in a position? Thank you for coming on in, Vanell. Blessings, beautiful. Hello, Queen. Listen, what happens when you are now in a position where you must take upon the very things that you've been working towards, that you evolved your whole life around, and you must now take it to the cross, right? Where you must now go to the mountain and say, I am offering everything that I have been waiting on. I'm giving it back to you, Lord. What happens when you're now in that position, right? And personally, that is one of the things that I have been working through, when some of the very things that has been my driving force, right, for a very long time, that I've been keeping the faith with, that I have been holding on to, that I've been believing in, that I've been waiting for, that I've been preparing for. When you know it's ripe, it's like the fruit, the mango being, the exact timing that it is ripe to cut, right? What happens when you know the atmosphere is set for you now to receive the promise, and you now have to offer it back to the Lord? What happens when you're in that moment when you must tear down and kill the very thing and say, listen, Lord, I'm willing to give it back to you. And I don't know if you're going to give it to me. I must now reprogram my mind to be able to receive this empty plate now. This is all you know. This is all that has been on your mind. This has been everything that you've been thinking on for years at a time. What happens when now you take that very thing on the cross and say, I have to sacrifice it. I got to sacrifice the things that I've been wanting for my life. I got to sacrifice all the desires that I've been literally going after for so long. I must give that back to you. And I don't know if you're going to actually make it like you're going to give it back to me, but I must now that it's right here in my hands. It's like I can touch it. I must now offer it back to the Father. Well, I'm in that season, right? And I want to tell you, for those that are in the very place that you have been literally believing for some amazing things to happen in your life, like that next level. You've been healing so that you can be this and this and that and that and that and this and this and that. And now you're having to literally reconstruct your mindset to say, Lord, I'm willing to clear my slate so that you can actually finally write on the tablets what you can show me now, what you actually have been doing all this work in me for. It was not about what I actually wanted and the desires that I thought was the mission. Now I'm willing to completely be a blank. It's like this. I must completely go from this to a blank sheet. I must be willing to be empty for you so that you can now fill me with everything that you actually have built me for. Lord, I am giving it back to you. And I gotta believe that I know that the Father has my good interest and intentions, and He has everything already set up for me. And now He's now saying, I need you to be completely empty, Nekia, so that I can now fill you up with everything. Because sometimes we have filled up our cups with everything that we thought, me, I. We have filled this thing for all of these things because we got the scriptures all lined up that really was comforting us. He'll give me the desires of my heart. But what happens when you have to sacrifice you're offered to sacrifice the very thing that has been the driving force in the forefront of your heart for your entire life, right? I'm not telling you it is easy, but it is necessary. And I must tell you that we know that the Father, He is going to bless us with more than we can even imagine, but we must be willing to say, I'm willing to clear all of this out. I'm willing to cancel all my plans. I'm willing to keep the slate clear. I'm willing to empty out the things that were dear to me. I'm willing to disconnect from all of the things that are not in alignment with your will for my life, Lord. I am taking this that I've been waiting on for so long and I'm giving it back to you. What happens when you're in that moment and you must make a decision? I was talking to my nail, hello Arisha, my nail lady the other day. We were having a conversation. I said, well, just give me just a few more days to sit with this. And then I had to go back in and tell her, listen here, I just had to update you. I couldn't even drive off in my car. I needed you to know that it is over right now. That I needed to make the decision right now. I needed to no longer give it any more of my time, any more of my energy. I must be so solid and grounded in knowing that I'm releasing it all in a way that I've never experienced before, in a way that I never imagined that I had to reprogram and erase out the things that I had engraved in my spirit for so long. I mean, I had, since a child I had these desires. Since a child I've been some of the things that are the fundamental and foundational things that I thought I was built on, and say, listen, I'm willing to tear it all down. I'm willing to tear it all down, Lord. And I'm now at a place that, listen, I have no choice, because I know that this is the only way. The only way is to give it back to you. I must surrender. I must submit. I must be in alignment, and I must be willing to go with whatever you're trying to show me in this hour, in this season, so that I can be a vessel to be of use for whatever you should have me to do. I know that I had plans. I know that I had a lot of things that I had, this is the right time. Like, everything's lining up. You've been hustling it out. You've been getting it, and I got to clear all of that out of my heart so that I now can be freed. And let me tell you something, what took place that was so supernatural. Sometimes we don't know that some of the things that we've been really focusing on, like this bracelet here that we have. Listen here, stay focused, right? Stay focused, right? I'm so serious. This has been my motto, stick to the plan. I'm so serious. That has been my drive and energy for so long. I am sticking to my guns. I am sticking to my plans. I am literally staying in a position to receive, because I'm like, I know He's going to do it. And to now be in a place where I must give it back to the Lord and say, Lord, I surrender it all to you. I submit this. I am offering this as a sacrifice. So this is my whole entire life package that thus far that I am offering it back to you. Have your way. Have your way, Lord. It is not easy, but it's necessary. And see, the Bible has showed us that you can make a decision. See, the most powerful thing in your life is a decision. Once you make a decision, it actually makes a movement for you without you moving. It literally puts you in a place when you make a decision. And when I went back in and I told her, this thing will no longer take any space in my heart. It will no longer take any type of precedence in my mind. I must release it all. I told her it is over right now. I've decided that it doesn't get a couple more days. It's over. It's been years. It's over. And when I tell you the level of release, and sometimes we don't know that we've had some pressures and some weights. Listen, He says you must carry your cross. I couldn't even carry this cross because I had all my own baggage all in my hands. I was carrying all my plans in my hands. It's like being on a construction site with all these big plans. I had these big old gigantic plans in my hand. I could not even carry my cross. But when I tell you, he said, I can take you further. If you release it all, I can take you further, Nekia. If you trust me, if you just give it back to Daddy, if you trust me right now, I will allow you to experience the things that even your mind cannot even fathom, right? And I'm like, well, what is that? Because what all I had planned was, listen, if you're in that place right now, if you're in the season where you are, hello, mother, when you're asked that you must sacrifice the very thing. Listen, that's right. You can go further faster if you release it all. Listen, when he's taking you up in elevations and levels, you have to get rid of all the things that are not necessary. He is going to allow you the opportunity to choose to make a decision to give it all and leave that down here so I can bring you up here. You must leave that here so I can bring you up here, because that cannot come with you. He's saying that cannot come with you. So you're wanting to go to the next level, but all of that cannot come with you. I'm so serious. It's real, right? This is this good season, right? This is pressure season, right? This is that north, south, east, and west. Listen, I'm gonna make it happen season. Listen, what happens when you must give it all back? The very thing that you've been waiting years on, like Sarah. Must give the promise back to the Lord and say, I'm willing to surrender it all to you. I'm willing to literally sacrifice the very thing that has been my driving force my entire life. Well, if you're in that hour, I want to tell you that it is so much easier once we learn how to kill ego, to kill pride, once we learn that, listen, blessings, Miss Lady, Miss, all right, Shalom. Listen, what happens is miraculous, because you didn't even know you was carrying all that unnecessary weight. You was carrying all that unnecessary pressure. You was carrying those worries. You was carrying, it was giving you issues in your mind that was unnecessary, because that was never supposed to be yours in your heart space. See, we always are supposed to give it to Daddy, right? We're always supposed to say, go to him before we plan anything, right? We're always supposed to be in a place of submission. But what happens when you finally realize that has been the pivotal thing that's been holding you back for a very long time? Releasing it all. This is release season. Listen, in 2020, get your healing. Allow yourself to release the things that cannot go to your next level. Allow yourself to be free in a way that you've never experienced before. Allow the weights to really be taken off. See, we were voluntarily shackled with some things. We were voluntarily like this in some areas of our lives, and not even knowing it. He hid the very things that we were wanting in the sacrifice. He hid it in the posture of, I must make a decision to say, Lord, I'm willing to give it all to you. So on this Friday, I wanted to come in and say, listen here, if you're in this place, because I'm talking to those that I am aligned with and assigned to, listen, if you're in that place, make a decision to say, Lord, I give it to you. Make a decision, make a decision, make a decision, make a decision. And in that decision, it's actually going to position you for a life that you don't know what's next, for a life that you don't know the next step, for a life that does not feel comfortable and easy like you thought it was going to be, but you are willing to stand up and say, listen, I'm willing to do my part. I want to be able to add value and impact in a way that I don't even know is able to be done. But God is going to do it. But I must release these bags so that I can go higher, right? I can't take this weight up. It's like going up a mountain, and every time you take another step up the mountain, the elevation changes. You got to learn how to breathe different. You have to learn how to literally see things different. You have to learn how to literally go about it in a whole nother way. You can't do the things from the past. See, we're in a season of new wineskin, and you can't keep trying to get into those old things, because he said all things are new at this point. So let's be in a posture to literally be obedient with what God has for us in this hour. Make a decision that you've never done before, a decision to give it all back to him. I know, right? The very things that you've been waiting on, right? Give it all back to him. let me tell you, the level of release that I received, I didn't even know that I was carrying it for so long. I mean, it took me to a place, and that was the story. I was talking to a friend last night. That was the story that really put it in position. That once you make a decision, just like that, things can change. So you're in the hour that we must make some executive decisions. That the Father has it all under control. We must trust like never before. You got this. You were designed before you were born. He knew that this time was going to come, and he knew that you were going to do what you needed to do, right? Understand that the body of Christ is holding space for you. Understand that, listen, we are all in this together, and I am rooting for you. God bless you. Have an amazing day. For those that this is your first time, listen, I am Nekia Foxx from the Transformation Place, where I help amazing women and men transform from the inside out, gaining clarity, confidence, and a sense of true self-worth while being able to create wealth in every single area of their lives. That's what we do. And it's all about this internal work. Everything you want to experience externally starts internally. So right now, I'm in a posture that I have to give the very promise back to the Lord. And I would advise you, if you're in that position, to literally make a decision and allow God to show you what He needs to show you in this season. God bless you. Mwah, 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 mwah.